Hi, Chris Petri here. Welcome. We're doing another wonderful oil painting. We're going to get together here for the next hour or so, and we're going to create a wonderful landscape painting. We have a road going into the distant tree lines here, a beautiful cloudy, kind of like wintry or summery sky with some clouds. We have green grass fields with some really exciting orange and reds in there, kind of just little bits of complementary colors to the composition. So you're going to see how we're going to put the whole design together. We do a preliminary sketch with some pencil first to kind of get the whole composition started. And then once we start painting, we're going to have the palette on the camera, so you'll see all the colors we're going to mix. So we have that on camera too once we get started with our oil painting. So you'll see all the different things you'll need to get this completed, and we're going to have a fun time together. And so we'll get started just in a second. Okay, so we're going to keep working here. We just saw the finished painting, and I think the first thing we can do is just kind of get a feel for the composition to start. I'll make just a representation of the outside of the rectangle that we're working within. And then we're just going to, again, kind of work in an abstract way. We'll take our paints and our creativity and just maybe make an interesting, more of an abstract landscape type painting. So what we'll kind of do is we'll have like a stormy sky up here, a nice dramatic sky, maybe some light peeking through here in the middle, some more darker clouds maybe down here. So we'll have some darker clouds here, maybe some dark tree lines down here. So I'll just do the sketch with my pencil here quickly. These will be our distant mountains and trees, like a tree line back here. And then maybe we'll have a road coming through here, like this, winding like that. And then here we'll have fields, green grass and interesting things, some weeds. And we'll just consider, like, we're going to enjoy the colors of everything and just a general basic composition of it. And then I guess our lights are really going to be we would say the white paper or the white canvas or lights are going to be here and here. And then these are going to be the medium tones here. And then the sky is going to kind of blend down into the mountains a little bit. And then there's going to be more dark clouds up here. So we're kind of going to have this kind of an overall look. So that's the basic concept of it. That's what we're going to sketch here now. We'll just set this across from us. That'll be our guide. So it's approximately halfway. I'll just put a pencil line. It's a little bit lower than halfway on the canvas. That'll be our distant field where it meets the tree line. And then here's our tree line coming across here. And it's not going to be a straight line. We're going to have, trees and fluctuations in the height of the trees and so forth, like that. And then the rest is going to be the dark clouds up here. And then some dark clouds behind the trees over here too as well. And then again, we're going to have that road. That kind of goes over here. And then it kind of widens out here, like that. I think that's going to look good. All right, so now we have our pencil lines just sketched in roughly according to our quick rough that we did here with the printer paper. So this is just printer paper and a 8B pencil. And I have some of my art supplies down below in the comment section below. Links to various art supplies that I use. I might have these are Statler pencils. So they might be in the comment section below, or they're easy to find though. And we'll set this again over here. So I have like a foam board straight across from me, and I take that black and white pencil drawing and just tape it up on the foam board. And we did a little bit of a priming of the canvas with some yellow ochre just to get some warm tone on the canvas here. And we have our Princeton Aspen brushes. So I tend to mention that I do have a lot of my supplies in the comment section below, but these are easy to find. They have the blue stripes, so they're black with a blue stripe, and they're made by Princeton Art and Brush Company, and the line is called Aspen, like Aspen, Colorado. And these are great. They're synthetic, and I find that they really are. They clean up nice with soap and water after we're done painting. And again, I'm using Winsor & Newton. I'm using Winsor & Newton Artisan, which is water mixable oil colors. So here with this type of paint, the Winsor & Newton Artisan line of paints, there's no solvents needed, no paint thinners, anything like that. Solvents, you can just use water to thin down your paints if you want to a little bit, and you can clean up everything with soap and water. So these are just great. They work fantastic, and that's what I use. And so I'll probably stick with the same brush that I primed the canvas with, which was the number 10 flat brush, like this. And we'll just start out. I think I'm going to start out with my darks first. And so my darks, from the painting, from the first few minutes of the video, you kind of notice the painting, what it looks like. So I'm going to mix a really rich dark with a little bit of phthalo green and French ultramarine blue and burnt umber. And I think it's going to be more French ultramarine blue than anything. So I just want to make sure I see the color here as I'm working it out, and I can see that it's got that really nice blue feel to it. And then I'm just going to start getting in my darks to start with. And again, I'm going with a thin layer of paint to start with. So I don't want to go too thick with my paint when I start. And I kind of scrub around and mix around to get those tree tops here. And we can go back in and do a little more fine tuning to the tree line here, the tree tops of this. I noticed that there's a little more dark down here too as well. Like that. And I'm just trying to make sure I cover the canvas. There's a little bit of the break in the trees over here where the road goes through. So I'm going to make that an interesting little feature of the painting where it feels like if we were in a car we could drive through there. Or if we were hiking or something like that. And again, we're just having fun here, getting on some nice darks to start the painting. And I'm following the pencil lines that we started out with. And I'm keeping that level line going across where the fields meet the edge of the woods here. And I try to, again, I'm trying to get those treetops, you know, pretty good as I'm going here. We can fit, you know, fine tune those later too. All right, that looks pretty good. So we have that really dark, nice tree line there. And I think we're also going to take a touch of white here and see if we can just lighten this up a bit. See if we can start getting in our clouds up here. So this is going to be a kind of a stormy looking sky up here. I'll take a little bit of that color that we have in the sky and I'll try to put it in the trees a little bit here, just for the good habit of mixing the same colors throughout the painting and not getting into that, like, just that blotchy looking paintings where we have just like blocks of colors that don't, you know, harmonize together. So that's why I'm going to add this little bit of sky color here. But you can see it's dark, this sky color, and I'll make it even darker up top here. Some more burnt umber and French ultramarine blue. And this acts as a really nice dramatic sky with the dark clouds. And then we can add in some white to lighten it up a little bit. But I wanted to get it really dark up top here, like that. And then get some white, white paint, straight white, and then start lightening some of that up here. Like this. And that's just blending it down into the more white. So I'm going to add more white here just to blend it down into the lighter areas of the sky, like that. And then just try to do some softening a little bit here and there. And this is a good spot to take a break, maybe for a quick 5-10 minutes, just to stretch a little bit or sit down and relax if we're standing. But I think that's looking pretty good so far, and we'll adjust it as we need to, as we go. But I think that's looking good, and I might just even add a little bit of that phthalo green as I'm thinking about it. And again, I don't want to forget to add that phthalo green, because we're going to put phthalo green down in the ground here where the grass and the fields are. So that means I want to add a little bit up in the sky, just to have that harmonizing of colors. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit is fine. And we'll keep doing the same with some more of that phthalo green over here in the forest area here, in the distant forest. Some phthalo green in there too as well. All right. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a quick break, sit down for a few minutes, and then come back and look and see how everything's looking. Once I've relaxed for about 5-10 minutes, when I come back, it's going to be a little easier for me to see how everything's coming along. At this point, we're about halfway through. So this is a good time. Take a break, relax a few, and then come back and start to just evaluate how things are going so far, and we'll kind of make counter adjustments if we need to as we're going. All right, so we just took a step back, took a quick break, looking at the painting now. I just noticed that everything seems to be coming along good. I think we'll start working maybe some of the greens for the grass in the fields. So I'm going to take some yellow ochre, some cadmium lemon yellow, maybe a little bit of that phthalo green. Mix that in there. That'll look good, and we've been mixing that green. So far, we've been mixing that phthalo green everywhere throughout the painting pretty much. So yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to use that and start just getting in that nice looking, kind of like that lively, toned down green. That really looks good. And I'm just going to blend that right into the bottom of the tree line there. And maybe I'll mix in some blue. Blue and green. So this is just a little bit of a change in the green, so a little bit of blue and green. So I'll darken up some of the green here and there. I'll darken it up over here on the edges of the painting to sort of like kind of, make that area a little bit less exciting as far as the color, the vibrant color. And then as we get out into the middle of the painting, you'll see more of that vibrant green that we have. And the same thing over here. We'll tone down this green over here at the edges over here. So it's like, a little bit less intense, the color. And I'm just working in the paint really nicely into the canvas. I'll work all that paint in there. All right, so we have some good dynamics going here with that road swinging into the distance there. That looks good. We've got the tree line looking good. We're mixing in some of that green into the tree line there. Kind of harmonizing the colors. A little bit of that green up here in the sky. Not a lot, just a little bit maybe. bit of the blue. Some of the clouds there. Then I'll rinse off my brush and take off some of that water, some of the green paint there. Maybe some of that light blue. Just kind of some of the white. Blend in some of the white here. So I'm just taking straight white, going a little bit thicker here. Straight white paint right into the sky here, and we're kind of blending it down into the tree areas. Then we're going to get some of that light, the light of the sky, right down into that valley and that little bit of light going through there where the road goes through. And then again, more light, white paint. And we're sticking with that white paint with that little bit of blue. And that blue is actually the sky reflection in the white of the road. So that really looks good. Kind of ties everything together. And my white paint now is pretty thick. It's got a little bit of blue in there in that white paint and pretty thick. I'm going right over the top of the yellow ochre primer again that we did in the beginning. Can do a little bit of roughing around the edges here. And I'm hoping you're enjoying this. I hope you'll subscribe if it's your first time here. Welcome and thank you for coming by. And, you know, we're really, on this channel, it's everything oil painting, and we get together once every couple weeks. So it's not something where we're working at a feverish pace with our oil paints. We're actually just going at a good, healthy tempo, working on our oil paints. Our oil painting process. And of course you can always thumbs up if you like it. That helps my channel. We can grow a little bit more our channel here as we're working. Then what I do is I'll take my brush, rinse off my brush, take off some of that paint that's on the brush. I'll get fresh, clean paper towels. Then I'll also empty out my water bucket and add more fresh, clean water. When we get to probably the latter stages of the painting, we're pretty much like 90% done now. Once we get to this level, then we change out our water. So we change out our water a couple times, or 2 or 3 times during this painting. But now toward the end, let's change out the water one more time. I'll clean the brush here, and we've used this brush the whole way through. I think this is just the perfect, the number 10 flat brush by Princeton. And this is the, we have the Aspen, Princeton Aspen brushes, and they're really nice. They have the blue stripe on them, and they're black. And these are synthetic brushes, oil brushes, and I think you'll be really happy if you get these or something similar. You can shop around. I have some of my art supplies in the comments section below. There's links to Amazon. That's where I get mostly all my art supplies, at Amazon. And so I'll get some more white paint here, thick white paint with a little bit of the blue. And I'll just make sure that I sort of tie in the white sky with the, and actually the yellow ochre is perfect for the base of the sky, the lower section of the sky here that is along the tree line here. That's really perfect, because that's usually the sky is warmer at the base of the sky where it meets the tree line and the horizon line. So I've just kind of took my time here with my white paint with that little touch of blue in there to sort of blend in the sky and the clouds, and I think it really is looking pretty good. Now I think what I'll do is we'll do just a little more with the grass here in these fields. We want to kind of make it look a little more exciting with color. So maybe we'll take a little bit of that yellow ochre, and now maybe a touch of red. That's where you can add in this little bit of red and yellow ochre, cadmium red and yellow ochre, and really get a nice bit of like pop of color here. That looks really good. But I would just use this very sparingly, the yellow ochre and a little bit of that red, the cadmium red. It's sort of, I would blend it into the background here. Okay, you can kind of see how we blended that in. Then we can even take some of that blue and brown and green and just kind of make some directional lines with a little bit of like that. And then maybe just a little bit here and there, that yellow ochre with that little bit of red, really kind of, you can lead the viewer's eyes into the painting where this is here, the road in this distance here going between the trees, the tree line there and the mountains. So if you add some of this yellow ochre and red, that's going to be an exciting pop of color. Again, that's going to actually take that person that's viewing your painting and have them looking right where you want them to. So you wouldn't put the orange and red anywhere else. You might put it over here and maybe a little bit of, just a tiny bit, maybe here and there, maybe a little bit, just to excite the eyes. But the main bits are going to be right there. And you can put some over here too. Some of the orange yellow ochre. You could do some of that over here too. Very lightly though, and not too much. And you might even put a little bit in the trees, just a little bit. And what you can do is add a little bit to the tree area over here, just so you, and then also in the sky, you might want to have a little bit there too, just to tie the whole painting together. It's really, sometimes, it's your choice if you want to add a little bit up in the sky too, but I think it does help to kind of give the whole painting a bit of harmony to the colors. But I would just use very sparingly that orangey red in the sky. I would just, so that it's barely visible, that you would barely see it. I think that's the way to go with that. And then we can even take a little bit of the cadmium red. And again, that cadmium red is really strong. So if you add just a tiny dot of it here and there, that's going to look great. And then you can even neutralize that red a little bit with some green and put it here and there. I wouldn't put it toward the, I wouldn't put it too much toward the edges of the painting, but you could put it like here and there. I would take, again, a little bit of the red with the green that we mixed over here. And if you have that little bit of red in there too, and a little bit even in the mountains, just a tiny bit, and again in the sky, maybe a little bit of it there. And then you can flick up a little bit of things that would look like some grass. Just some movement in the paint. But I think that's it. I think we have a completed painting. I'm really happy that you came by to paint with me, and we're going to keep creating more paintings. Every other week we'll be here getting together, creating some beautiful oil paintings. We're going to change up too and diversify our subject matter. So we're not going to do landscapes, obviously, every time we paint. Sometimes we'll do flowers. Sometimes we'll do seascapes. Other times we might do a city scene. So we're going to change up the subject matter, but we're always going to be working in oil. So I'm glad you're interested in oil painting, and I'm sure you're doing a really fantastic job out there working along. We're keeping these paintings basic too, so we're not getting too far out there with too much, theory and all things like this. Let's just paint, have a good time, and enjoy it. And each time we come in and we create a new painting, we're going to get a little better and learn something new probably too each time we pick up the brushes and the canvas and work together. So that's the main thing. Okay, we'll see you soon, everybody. Happy painting.